A Bedford County family is pulling their kid out of Staunton River High School. They say they'd rather homeschool him after a controversy surrounding the American flag.
Christopher Hartless says he is just exercising his First Amendment rights by flying this flag.
My family fought for America, and I feel like I should be able to represent the flags that they fought for.
His stepmom, Christina Kingery, says last Wednesday, Hartless went to school with the flags mounted on his truck. School administration told him he needed to take them down because it was a distraction.
I don't understand how it's distracting if they have one on the flagpole that every other student can see.
Hartless refused to take the flags down.
Like I told my son, is if this is what he's believing in, me and his dad are both going to stand behind him all the way till the end of it.
About 10 minutes into first period today, Hartless says he was told he needed to take them down again. The school also revoked his parking pass. Kingery doesn't want him to have to ride the bus, so they're going to homeschool him.
Or if they're willing to change and let kids want to fly the American flag, then I'll put him back in Staunton River. But until then, he possibly put him back in Staunton River. But if they don't, then I'm going to continue to let him fly his flags.
I reached out to the school system asking for an interview, but I was told no one was available. And I asked whether small American flags are allowed and if American flag stickers are allowed. I was told, in part, students are certainly welcome to have small American flags or stickers of the American flag on their cars.
Was it a hate crime or a freedom crime?
This is why that DEI piece, the diversity, equity, and inclusion piece, becomes much more substantial, because the reason why our students have always been failing is because of structural racism, and because we don't have a lot of money compared to the amount of money that we should be allocated. So maybe we need to be more explicit about that white supremacy is very alive and well in our schools.
In the fall of 2016, I was student teaching in my master's program, and I faced my first incidents of transphobia impacting my career. I assigned a news article to my students about Trans Day of Remembrance. The next week, my advisor told me the principal of the high school where I was student teaching had asked that I be removed from my placement because a parent had sent an email saying that they did not want their child in class with me. The parent claimed that I was pushing a liberal agenda by forcing kids to use alternate pronouns for me. I was obviously indignant to my core, and my advisor was very supportive, but ultimately the university allowed it to happen, and they made me do another student teaching placement the following spring. That caused me to graduate a semester later than I should have. One of the many ways that transphobia can negatively impact a person's career.
I realize the curriculum has already been approved. I also realize that Miss Rice, who I incorrectly was referring to as a doctor last month, explained that only 3 families out of 4,500 students in Benicia voiced concern about the curriculum. Our family has also been told that we can simply have our children opt out of the sex ed classes if we have an issue with the classes. But I would like to say to you, who are entrusted to represent and make decisions for our children, and to the community that may be watching this video, that we have a big concern with what is now being taught to children as young as 10 in Benicia, such as children are being asked to identify their pronouns, and this is now part of the 10-year-old curriculum. This forces a gender discussion beyond the scope of the state requirements and complicates an already overburdened classroom environment. We are alarmed that gender identity is now being discussed in math classes. This takes time from core learning and does not benefit the students or our community. Teaching kids that there isn't any standard or truth and that you can believe anything you want to believe is not scientifically accurate or medically correct. For example, the notion that a girl can decide to be a boy or a boy can decide to be a girl is not true and should not be taught. The new curriculum teaches that individuals can decide if they're male or female, regardless of anatomy, does not explain that a boy cannot menstruate and a girl cannot impregnate someone. This is not scientific or medically accurate. Our 10-year-olds will now be taught that they can receive puberty blockers to prevent their body from going through changes that make them uncomfortable. All humans are uncomfortable during adolescence. To teach vulnerable children that a lifetime of dependence on medical care is a viable option is completely unacceptable and evil, frankly. The new curriculum encourages gender confusion, not gender clarification. All parents should question how this is helpful, scientifically sound, or medically accurate. 12-year-olds will now be taught about oral and anal sex. 12-year-olds. So I get a little emotional about this because I think that's wrong. The Ed Code 51933 requires that instruction and materials should be appropriate for use of pupils of all races, genders, sexual orientations, and ethnic and cultural backgrounds. Teaching children about oral and anal sex violates this law, since several cultures would not find this teaching appropriate. When we asked, we were told the reason the curriculum removes the idea of male and female was to be more inclusive, but no longer identifying females as having ovaries and males as having testes is not scientific, not medically accurate, and not true. It's nonsense. It's not a choice. People are not gender fluid, and to teach our children this is not okay. We're appalled that the school district has adopted this curriculum.
Thank you. Thank you.
If anybody wants information on where to find this information in the curriculum, I've researched it very thoroughly. I'm happy to provide that.
Thank you.